Okay.
Oh, look at us.
Oh, we're live.
Yeah.
It's a hot mic.
I mean that in the way that late 1980s hip-hop meant it. That used to mean something.
Back in my day.
BIMD. Well, yeah, hello, Facebook Live. We are live on you, and I suppose that this will migrate over to YouTube pretty soon. How do you do it?
I don't worry about it.
I know, it's impressive. I'm impressed.
I download it from Facebook, and then I put it in a file on my phone or on my computer, and I rename it so it gives me the date and the podcast number and all that jazz, and then just upload it to YouTube and put a little blurb on there with all our tags and crap and throw it up.
Is the tag part new?
The tag part is not new. I've been tagging all of our videos with that crap.
Well, it must be working because we're blowing up.
Over 100 likes on TikTok today.
Yeah, that's.
What are we gonna do about our internet fame?
I know, right?
Cry.
Hey, should I slave this bad boy over to my my device? That's a Bluetooth thing. That might
Listen to me.
Did it cause a buzz on the last one?
It might have caused a buzz. I think let's ride out the Wi-Fi, even though we're on one bar right now.
Is it okay if we? Wow, the Wi-Fi is sparse.
Dude, but I'm connected to your Wi-Fi. I'm gonna deconnect.
Yeah, I disconnected this one from my
and it helped.
Wi-Fi.
Look.
Snap.
Oh no, it's back down.
No, it's back down, but it's still connected somehow.
That's hilarious.
We don't know. So we're about to start up a podcast,
Freshy.
And
indeed,
for what it's worth. And so this will be the full YouTube. It's interesting because a lot of times we hang on for a second with our Facebook Live when
these are live.
Yeah, so you can tell it's working. That's sick. We have actual. Oh, you're the one person watching. The sad, strange little men.
Yes, dude. Yes.
Oh my gosh. I had a conversation this afternoon with my son. He's smart. He's in college. He's in college. He's smart. And I was telling him I felt bad because in one of the comments we had on our Instagram.
Oh yeah.
Somebody got a little bit feisty. They got some lint right there. I can see it in the monitor. Someone got a little feisty with me on the Instagram, and I kind of let him have it. In my view, I kind of let him have it, And I felt a little bit badly because I wasn't like. I don't want to make somebody feel worse if it's not necessary. I make people feel bad all the time by things I say that I'm not sorry for.
Yeah.
So I don't want to stack up things that I say that I might actually not have needed to be like that. Yeah. So anyway, my son checked out the content of my comment. He was like, "No, that's exactly what you should say." He was so encouragage to me.
Very supportive.
He's like, "No. Both barrels, Dad."
Yeah,
it was like
center mass.
Both barrels, center mass. Oh
sick,
man, that's
dude.
sad. Because guns are sad.
Because guns are sad, dude.
It's very sad. All right, so we're about to kick off.
Oh, you son of a gun!
I don't even know my own middle name right now. Did these
time.
things kick off? No, they didn't. I'm just squeezing it in a little tighter, make sure that's good.
I think we set it up last time.
I think that's the way we're doing it.
Yeah, that's sick. So you can actually see.
I like that. I'm going to actually do this too. Yeah, I do have to hit the plus on that, but I'm rerunning a chord. Our Facebook and YouTube customers can just enjoy a little extra texture today.
This is the added. Remember when you had to put a DVD into a DVD player and then you had to press play or do subtitles, and then there was sometimes extra content on there, deleted scenes. This is what this is.
Yeah, that's right. These are the deleted scenes. So use iPhone headphone for better quality.
No,
I think we're all plugged in. I do. I think we're mic'd up. And our mics are green lit.
Yes.
Yeah, the mics are green lit. So, here we go. Welcome to another episode of the erstwhile CapmLew podcast. I'm your host, CapmLew, and we've got your other host, Luke.
Yes.
I'm not doing this without you.
Here I am, dog.
Jeez Lapetes. I keep trying to encourage Luke to talk more and say more things, and I think it's going really well.
Yes.
Every now and then I'll slide him a note that says, "You have a booger."
you have a huge booger. Just to keep it spicy.
We've been off for a week. Well, I know that we had episodes up last week, but we pre-recorded those.
Yes.
And I took a trip to New York, and you worked.
I just worked and rested, and it was actually pretty pleasant. My schedule is really busy, man.
Dude,
it's
real.
super busy
I've
right
straight noticed it.
Yeah, it's super busy. I'm working to not burn out. That's what I'm doing.
I'm glad you asked, Luke. It's actually...
Stop, dude. Please.
Coffee and oak. You know what? I was a little bit humiliated because I've been making these joke ad spots for Huck Style Genuine Multi-Balm because that would be a good name.
Huck Style, yeah.
It turns out we have no chances at sponsorship from this product because it's not called Huck Style.
It's Huckstall.
It's Huckstall.
The worst name in existence.
Well, maybe it's not such a great name only because it stands in stark relief to Huck Style, which is a great name.
Yes, certainly.
But Huckstall, I don't know, is that like hip-hop hustle class style of, I don't know.
It literally is Huckstall.
Huckstall.
Just it's spelled exactly how you think it would be.
Yeah, like when you go to a subway station and you go down and then you pay your thing and you go through the turnstile.
Yeah.
Nope.
Exactly.
Nope.
No, take one letter out. You got it.
Should be.
Dude, it's got a snake on this thing.
What?
It's a snake. It's a snake on a snake.
It's an arugula.
It's an arugula.
It's arugula.
It's an arugula.
I didn't even realize it had arugula on there.
Yes, look at that.
It does.
Arugula.
Well, it stinks pretty, and I like it.
Yeah.
It's a little perfumey.
It's sterile, and I like the taste.
It feels a little perfumey, but then when it eases down, it settles in pretty nicely.
That is nice. Do you mind?
No, I don't mind at all. They sent it to us for free. No, they didn't.
They didn't. That was a lie.
Super. I don't know.
We're just so lonely. Please send stuff to us.
I don't have any problem with advertising and review. Oh, we're going to be doing a review on Slappy trucks.
Oh yeah, we have them on order, right?
I spoke with Sam from Life Skateboards yesterday, and we are arranging a meetup. And Luke and I will be picking up 2 sets of Slappy trucks.
Yeah.
And I honestly can't wait. That is going to be fun.
Yes.
I haven't landed a backside slappy in so long.
Yeah, because those are of the devil. Dude.
No,
those
dude, they're good.
To do.
I know what I'm doing wrong. One thing I'm doing wrong, I need to put my front foot forward more.
Dude, I'm telling you, I skated with a dude and he shredded slappies and the front foot was literally all the way on the nose.
All the way on the nose.
It was insane.
It completely makes sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
I just got way too much weight on my back truck.
Maybe that's what's happening, yeah.
Yeah, so you get your front truck grinding.
Yeah, and then just bring your back one up with
You bring the front truck into a grind, and there's a moment during which the weight is on your front truck.
Yes.
And you are grinding, and then your back truck comes up.
Yeah.
And I used to do slappies. I did slappy front sides, which I still do.
Of course.
And slappy back sides, which I used to do and haven't landed any of because I've been because when I did slappies as a kid, there was no nose.
Yeah, there wasn't.
And we used to,
right.
I have a story about that I will tell at another time. The day I invented slappy grinds.
Oh my gosh. Stop, dude.
So, I did.
Todd Falcon.
No, I didn't invent them. I discovered them independent of any input. That was part of my skate. Oh, you don't know this story?
I do know the story, but the way that you just framed that is actually really interesting.
I discovered the slappy grind independent of any, and honestly, that's not an incredibly strange thing.
No.
But I discovered the slappy grind all on my lonesome on asphalt curbs, no paint.
Yeah, which is pretty gnarly.
And I wound up grinding. I ground 6 to 18 inches on every one of them because it was about being unweighted.
Yeah.
It was about being unweighted.
Yeah.
When I went up on that curb.
That's so cool, dude.
It was, and that's one reason. I mean, my itch has been scratched. You know? I just really am embracing older life.
Yeah.
And I haven't been chasing after fame or any of those things in my skateboarding. And it shows.
And it shows. And it shows.
It does show.
Yeah, you're going to have that.
Is your mic too low, Luke?
Well, so normally I have it down here.
Too far.
And then I just
that's
put it up
better.
here. I think it's better like
It's
that.
good.
We got some feedback.
So I was gone. I went to New York to visit family.
Yeah.
I had a good time. You worked and slaved away in the daily doldrums.
Yes, in the doldrums.
It was February.
Yeah.
Still is.
It was like 60 degrees out.
And I went on motorcycle rides this week.
Dude.
And I'm hitting the breaking point. Luke needs a motorcycle.
Yeah.
We would happily exchange all the beard balms in the world and free trucks if someone could hook us up with a Harley.
Yes. There's some out there, dude.
It would take me. The problem with fixers is it really takes a couple grand to fix a body.
That's the problem. I
really
just don't
does.
have the scratch right now. We have a lot of irons in the fire.
Yeah.
So, which is fine. It's
We
okay.
need. And you know what? You have such more important things to do than
do.
buy a Harley Davidson
I
because
do.
you've got a baby on the way, my guy.
I do.
Way to go.
Thanks, bud.
Good
doing
swimmers
it.
on this kid. It's good.
Just compliment it anyway. Yep, I do. And they work, apparently. As far as I know.
Well, it is the choice. I believe it's the hand of the Almighty that grants the children to the children.
Yeah.
So I'm stoked and grateful the way that's coming out there.
Yeah.
And here's to what is your baby doing like May?
Yeah, beginning of May.
That's sick.
Did you, when you had little boys, did you take them to the skate park and like they
Heck
really
yeah.
enjoy like the beginning stages of?
Yeah, my kids all liked skating.
Yeah. Did they start like on their butt and just like zoom around and like?
It's interesting. I remember going to the skate park with my youngest when he was about 5.
Okay.
But when my firstborn, I used to put adult rollerblades on my firstborn kid.
Yeah.
Because he got some little rollerblades and he was only 2 and 3 years old, and he could book on those things, and then he would spin backwards and roll backwards going and so I put adult rollerblades on him.
Yeah.
Which are like skis.
Yeah, essentially.
And I bolted them up around his calf muscles with skateboarder big boy knee pads on his knees.
Yeah.
So he could just slam and slam
do whatever he wanted.
and slam.
Yeah.
And then when we get home, I used to put one Smith brand vert pad, knee pad on his chest and one on his back.
Yeah.
So he had armor.
Yeah.
And then I'd put elbow pads on his forearms and his biceps.
So sick. Yeah.
And then I would put a karate helmet on him.
Yeah.
You know, like the soft karate helmet.
Right.
And then we would have sword wars. We
sick.
took those Star Wars lightsabers.
Yeah.
And I jammed some stuff up through the lightsaber so it could never close.
Yeah. Right.
And then I didn't glue it, but it could never close.
It could never. Yeah.
I know what I did. I took a broken one and I stuffed it inside of an unbroken one, and I made him an unbreakable lightsaber.
Yeah.
So he could just wail on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used the broken ones. I built them into the unbroken ones.
Right.
And just completely made him the most awesome lightsaber.
So sick.
So he could go completely ham on me.
Yeah.
And I could throw him around because with a vert knee pad on his chest, because he was a little guy.
Yeah, little.
He was 2 and 3 years old.
Oh.
And I used to take a full-size couch cushion.
Yeah.
And I could chuck it at him from across. We had a big, long living room.
Yeah.
And I could chuck it at him long distance and would just and full power into a bunch of couch cushions. It was, I'm telling you, man, it was epic. When I was young and I had a young one, it was epic.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, it was so good. But he and I used to play hockey ball.
Okay.
Me on my skateboard and him
on skates.
On his ninja skates.
Yeah.
And we just freaking played.
That's so much
fun. And with a skateboard and a hockey stick, very fun.
Yes.
Like much more fun than I ever imagined. And with the little kid, that was huge. I remember I was living in Florida at one point where he and I were playing like that.
Yeah.
And we would just go ham and play roller hockey in the apartment complex, parking lot and just have the best time.
That's so sick.
And then you're supposed to go skateboarding and be a tough guy and like do all the tricks and the daring do.
Yeah.
But I was already so blown away that I had this little guy.
Yeah, man.
And it really affected the way that I felt about tricks and skateboarding and the pecking orders of the 90s that was in the 90s, and I just didn't feel that way. I see that Floyd Howard Pruitt has joined our cast on the Facebook Live, and that's his face right there.
Oh, it is his face.
That's him.
That's actually his face.
Floyd.
I did not notice
Yeah,
that. Hi, Floyd.
I keep my enemies, I keep my friends close, my enemies closer, but I keep Floyd Howard Pruitt right in the studio.
Right there. So sick.
Yes. Yeah. Cheers to you, Floyd.
Yeah.
So we did some stuff. It's been a week since we podcasted. I'm sure that we're rusty, but it sure is nice to be back in here. And
it's nice. Absolutely.
So we learned that we've been saying Huxtable wrong the whole time, so that's out the window. No sponsorship from them.
We're done.
I've got Dagner pipes, but I don't think he makes pipes anime,or so that's out. What else have we got?
We got these.
What is that? Oh yeah, these are from the Republic of Georgia. These are horns from the Republic of Georgia.
Are they for drinking?
Yeah, I think so, but they're.
How do you set them down?
They got chipped. I don't know.
You don't, dog.
You're not supposed to.
Yeah, you always have to be.
Never set your drink down, dude.
Yeah, what are you doing?
So, yeah, I don't.
You know, something that's happening right now, which is insane, which is not skateboarding related, is the toxic chemical fume that is.
In East Palestine, Ohio.
Yeah, it's what's the word? Emanating. Is that the right word? Across the Ohio state, which is very interesting.
I don't know where it's all headed. I have decided that I will either live or die, and that so will all of us. And I don't know what I could do about such a thing.
I think my wife is getting us she's pretty crunchy, so she's getting us distilled water to drink and things of that nature, which I don't think is a bad move.
No, that's not a bad move. But if you, the particular substance is vinyl chloride.
Yes. There are others.
I learned that it is a monomer.
Yes, which makes it really hard to clean up and other some such. Or really hard?
I don't know.
What does that do?
I don't know. It's a liquid.
But it turns into gas at room temperature.
I learned that if it were the polymer, polyvinyl chloride, PVC.
Right.
If it were the polymer, it would be very easy to, but then it would be like pellets or dust.
Yeah, it wouldn't be
tubes.
Right.
So
I think it's the same stuff that. Have you ever watched the movie Black Water, Dark Water? It's with the same guy who played the Hulk in the Marvel movies. Can't remember his name. Mark Ruffalo or
Mark Ruffalo. Eric Bana. He was the first Hulk. He was in the yeah. So what happens in the movie?
Well, not in the movie, but there's a movie about a real thing, and it's a huge company that was pouring, I think, the same stuff into a river in West Virginia, and it was causing a lot of people to get really sick. And he's from Cincinnati, still lives here. He's a lawyer, and has been for the last 20 years now fighting these court cases for people. But it's the same stuff. It was causing super gnarly cancer and people's pets to die and all kinds of stuff like that. I think it's the same product or very close. It's the stuff they used to make out of Teflon, or they use it to make Teflon.
Lou doesn't even know. But it is a significant current event. I'm just checking our levels. Is what I'm looking at here.
Oh, sure.
I'm making sure we're looking like mid-range. Test 2. We'll see how high those go. It looks like my mic's not picking up very well. It says green. That's fine. We're green. So I don't know what to say about the environmental disaster. I probably could formulate some approach to it, but honestly, I'm stymied. There's so much stuff going on all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to talk about the environmental disaster, which, by the way, that happened as I was driving to New York. I was driving not far from the scene of the crime there.
The scene of the crime.
I was not too far away from it, and when I heard that it happened, I just was glad that the traffic wasn't backed up. Pretty superficial guy.
Yeah.
I just wanted my truck to run.
Yeah, please.
We do have a point of order. A question has been asked in the comments. What size is that Monster Lou Ross Agro Life Deck? That is the second prototype of the aggro deck.
Yes.
And it is like 11 inches wide, and it has a wide tail on it. The tail is 9 point some odd. It's full 9 in the bottom of the tail there.
Yes.
Which is what I like. I like the tail to be big and blocky and wide. The aggro deck on lifeskateboard.com has a beautiful, beautiful contour to it. It's a much nicer cut than the way that I make them. Has a narrow tail. The tail is like 8 point, I don't know, probably 8.5.
Yeah.
8.7.
Something.
Yeah, and it's a bit narrow for the likes of my riding. But with scallops on the edge, in order to get a 9-inch wide tail, you've got to be like a full foot wide on the scallops. I'm going to change the way I scallop boards in the future.
Yeah.
I'm going to run them on a spindle sander and put little tiny scallops all down the edge.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to pattern them so that they're, utterly symmetrical. I'm
Sure.
not even going to draw lines. I'm just going to blink, 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 blink down that thing. Yeah, I got plenty of ideas.
Yeah, that's sick, dude.
Just,
I was checking whether or not those were symmetrical. They look relatively symmetrical.
Oh, they're
They're
not.
a little bit off.
They're not symmetrical because, you cut with a template to make them symmetrical, but then you've got to knock off all the corners and you've got to get them sanded. And there's always everything, all of the factory decks that you've got up there, somebody hand did them. So the more shape there is in a board, the less symmetrical they tend to come out off of the sanding process and all that.
Right.
And you probably shouldn't even sweat it.
Like
You shouldn't sweat it.
at all.
You shouldn't. Just take it out and skate it.
Did you make this bad boy?
Mm-hmm.
It's sick.
Yeah.
I can see where the bandsaw at the edges. I really like that a lot.
I made the first few of these I made in my workshop. Then I took it up to Sam and we said, "Hey, can we make this?" And Sam took it to his expertise and made a real, like, capable of volume template that runs on his process, which is different to mine. And yeah, it still has some saw marks in it.
I love it.
I don't mind that at all.
Me neither. I really like it.
I trust a board when it's got some flavor to it.
Absolutely.
I'm more of a Pete's Pigs guy myself.
Dude.
More of a there's another guy who does wonderful cuts. Pete's shaping, and then there's another guy. He's a great skater. He was at the welfare line thing. He's a super nice guy. He's out of somewhere near Philly or somewhere near Pittsburgh.
Really?
Oh, it's called Leftover Skate Hermit. Leftover.
Yeah, that guy.
And he does the same lino cut style stuff.
Yeah.
And his work is.
Does he press his own boards?
I
can't
don't
remember.
know if he does now, but he and I were talking about how to press boards.
Yeah.
I was encouraging him to, but if you're happy with your op,
Yeah.
do your thing.
Absolutely.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you like the uncuts that you're getting and you feel good about the boards you're making and they're lasting for you, run what you brung.
Sure.
But the way that he was talking, he seemed like just the sort of chap who would not have a hard time pulling off pressing decks.
That's very cool.
I'm very excited.
I follow that guy on Instagram. I didn't realize that you knew him and that he did that.
He's such a ripper.
That's sick.
His skateboarding is so creative. The guy is just fun to watch.
Yeah. I'm actually.
He had heart-shaped pink glasses on at the welfare line bash.
That's sick.
He was dope.
What do you have a favorite skater? Is it Eric Dressen? You better not say it's Eric Dressen. It's probably Eric Dressen.
Do I have a favorite skater?
Or do you have something about, like, when you watch somebody skate? What are the things that you enjoy?
Eric Dressen.
Eric Dressen.
I mean, Eric Dressen in Speed Freaks.
Yeah, that guy. That what's it called?
That part was quintessential where the levels were at as in my group of. That's still in me.
Yeah,
another favorite part that I love is Ray Barbie and Ban This.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this was the stuff that the guys did straight out the gate.
Yeah.
They filmed them in like 2 days or 3.
Right.
But that was the stuff that they did every day.
Yeah. They just walked out of the door and hit it, right?
It was less, I was less like set up lights, bondo the cracks.
Yes.
I'm deciding whether I want to be disrespectful right now. I don't intend any disrespect, but I just don't prefer the 150 tries, one make, jumping down something and not going another half mile.
Right.
You know, like I like traveling skateboarding and I like the accessible, this is what a guy can do right now stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't tend, in my own skating, I don't tend to push beyond what I am just liking to do right now. And sometimes I learn new tricks.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do stuff I wasn't doing 2 years ago.
Right.
But it doesn't come out of a sense of mission or mandate. It just comes out of the flow of the moment. So get a guy like me and put me out skating for a bunch of days in a row, and if I don't get hurt, you get to see some of the old stuff come out and even some new stuff come out.
Sure.
So
yeah.
But yeah, Ray Barbie's parts are really precious to me. Matt Hensley, especially Matt Hensley in Shackle Me Not, and I don't know if it's like a really great part.
Sure.
It's iconic, but
but
where I was as a kid, you know, having watched Rubber Boys on public domain so many times,
right,
and you know, wearing out a VHS tape on that part, and then Shackle Me Not came out, and there's a really good song on the Matt Hensley part. It's a Brazilian punk band. It was really good. And he did a lot of the tricks that Ray Barbie did, but he did them more sloppily.
Like all the no complies.
His no complies and kick flips and everything were like the same sort of tricks that Ray Barbie would do.
Right.
But they were done more sloppily.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
I was like, here's 2 different styles of doing these tricks.
Sure.
And some of the skaters from that era were really bummed out that they didn't get like better examples of their best moment on their tricks.
Right.
Some of them were really disillusioned about that, but I loved it.
Sure.
There's a third part that was really important to me, and it was Tom Knox's part. Now I can't remember what movie it's in. I think it's a Speed Wheels movie too.
Okay.
Or Santa Cruz, or Speed Wheels. But Tom Knox had a part on his short-nosed board on the Cruise Missile Concave, and I think it was his first pro board, and that made me ask for his board for Christmas.
Oh, that's sick.
He also did a lot of the stuff that Ray Barbie did, but not as smooth.
Yeah, it was
actually
more
the
choppy.
Choppy.
Yeah,
that's exactly
choppy,
it. Yeah, it was more choppy.
Sure.
And I loved that. I loved that there was this, you know, like, hey, you're going to do this the way you do it.
Right.
Go do it.
Yeah, sure.
That's what I loved. So those are three personae from it. Aside from the correct answer, which is my favorite skateboarder is the kid who started today. That's the way it's supposed to be said.
Yeah, always.
But I don't know that kid.
Yeah, not as well.
And he might be mean.
Yeah, what if he's mean?
What if he makes fun of my beard? or my obvious lack of core strength.
Or my obvious lack of core strength. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm interested in your perspective because I think I'm interested in what you like because it represents who you are. So
what about you? Do you have a favorite?
I don't know if I have a favorite, but I've always
resonates?
really enjoyed watching Grant Taylor skate, which is a pretty classic answer.
Oh, yeah.
But I like watching Jimmy Wilkins skate, but it's for different reasons, I think, than what you're sharing. Because I know, I'm actually in an interesting time in my skateboarding career.
Is that what we are?
Yeah, because I'm getting a little bit older, and the stakes are a little bit higher for if I get hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm becoming more and more disinterested in what I was interested in. So a lot of that has really lost its shine. But for a long time, like Anti-Hero, Grant Taylor's Welcome to Anti-Hero part was my favorite skateboarding part of all time because I loved his flow and he has such good style.
Yes.
And I like that a lot. I like the flow. I like to be moving around the entire skate park. it's not normal that I stop and just skate one thing, especially if I'm at an outdoors like concrete skate park. You know, I like to hit multiple things. I want to run. Yeah, I want to go fast. And he does all that like way better than I'll ever be able to do it, and I really enjoyed that. But as I get older, I feel I'm a little bit lost right now in my skateboarding. I feel, because I'm trying to figure out, well, okay, what do I like now? What do I want to do now? You know, and I don't skateboard as nearly as much as I have been in the past. I used to go like every single day, and now it's like once a week maybe, because I'm married and I'm about to have a kid. You know, so. Yeah, it's as I get older, I think I'm moving more in your direction. You know, I'm looking for stuff that's unique and that looks fun to do, instead of looking at somebody who's doing something that I feel like I could never do and wanting to emulate that. I'm looking for people who are doing stuff that I feel like I could do and wanting to emulate that.
I like that.
Yeah, I definitely want it to be fun. You know, I want to have fun. I'm not there to get a clip or do some crazy thing. I like to go fast, so.
Well, you know, this is a good point in the podcast to just take a beat.
Yeah.
And let everyone know that you can listen to us on Apple, on Spotify, on the Google thing.
Yes.
And also the Podbean.
And the YouTube.
And we go up on Facebook Live, and that stays on my Facebook forever.
Yes.
And also on the GoobTube.
On the GoobTube.
That's right. And I figure that we'll back it all up on Rumble one day.
Sure.
I figure we'll port it over to Rumble as well.
Yeah.
Rumble is growing, and I like to diversify that, but it's a lot of work for this guy.
It is. We could do it though. I have all of them archived.
Yeah. So that's a thing.
Yeah. And it's all in the description of this video currently.
Oh yeah.
You should be able to just tap the link and it should take you there, which is sick.
I haven't looked at our growth or anything like that, or who's listening, but I have been getting messages from people, and they are very encouraging.
Yeah.
Even when somebody is like, "Who do you think you are?" Da 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 da.
Yeah.
There's a strange encouragement I feel about those.
Yeah.
And it is weird because back in the early days of Facebook, it used to be like, it used to be a place where I would discuss ideas and stay on message. But now that we have a podcast, I can take what I read on Facebook, I can hold my peace, and I can think about it for a long time, and then we can bring it up on the podcast and really, really share what we really think outside of a
tippy tappy
kind of lifeless, no nonverbals. You know,
right.
No intonation, no nonverbals. You okay over there?
I was stuck on the sword behind
There's a sword behind him.
I was actually stuck on the sword. I
what
was
it's
trying to be
worth.
chill.
Yeah.
For what it's worth.
And also, if you do listen to the podcast, we'd like you to know that we need some of your money. That's gross.
Yeah, hold on. Let's just let that.
There are a lot better. There are a lot better ways to say things than the way I say them.
Yeah.
But this is what's happening.
At least it's honest.
We are not having our door beat down yet by people who would like to be sponsors of a podcast of two God-fearing dudes talking about skateboarding and life and broader topics, and also charging headlong into industry ethics of whether it's a cool thing to make your kid a child star without them knowing anything. Yeah. And also we're really talking about things that everyone appears wishes that would not be discussed.
Yeah.
I actually have been going around and listening to podcasts in skateboarding. After we started, I decided to go, maybe there are some podcasts out here that are killing it and that are going there and that are talking about the kind of things that we talk about. There aren't. It's
a wasteland, dude.
It's a little bit of a, you're supposed to be really nice to everyone all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't have bad feelings about people who are trying their thing.
Right.
I just think it's a good thing for us to continue to offer to the whatever sphere it is.
Right.
That we have thoughts and perspectives that we aren't seeing out there, so we're happy to I don't know if it's a need we're meeting or if it's a service we're rendering, but we're doing it.
Sure.
And I don't know, Luke, do you think that we'll iron out getting our website up and getting like a kind of contribution link on a website?
Yeah.
We own a
eventually,
website.
I would prefer, I mean, I'm willing to get in there and throw elbows and learn stuff I don't know how to do, but making a website in my mind currently feels like such a task that I don't understand.
Hey, would anyone like to make us a website? Because we need a website so I can go, hey, we already have CapmLew.com.
Yes.
And it's just sitting there. And we need to be able to say the following thing to you guys. Hey, head on over to CapmLew.com, and
Yes.
it would have a link to all of those different Spotify's
Yes.
and Apple Podcasts and all
Right.
that. And then you say, and click on support, and there'd be a spot that says support.
Right.
And people could click on support where they could pledge a recurring or a single gift to us.
Right.
Because we are going to have to raise our game. Notice I did not use the preposition up as a verb.
Yes, I appreciate that. Thank
I
you.
didn't say we're going to. No, I said we're going to raise our game
Yes.
and get some camera stuff going on.
Yeah.
There's an aspect of mobility that we're going to not only have to hang on to,
Yeah.
because we're going to be casting from different places,
Yeah.
out in the shed and also probably at your house.
Yeah.
As the baby comes and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a little bit more than a $22 set of lav mics to get this done well.
Absolutely.
Also, with our connectivity issues, we're going to have to start recording with a GoPro that has the teeny tiny forward facing camera and that can cast live to Facebook, but that also stores it.
Yes.
So that we can have a high quality recording and begin to dial in the visual product. So, you know, if there's anyone out there that would help us do a website right proper, we don't want to be locked out of our website. We want something simple that we can, you know, handle ourselves. We don't want to have somebody on staff.
Yeah.
I'm thinking WordPress.
Yes.
I don't want to pay for a it's not Shopify, it's not Spotify, it's not Quarter Snacks, Squarespace.
Squarespace.
I don't want to pay for a Squarespace.
Yeah.
You know, we're just not in a place right now where paying for those things is a thing.
Yep.
So
yeah, it'd also be nice to, if we had a website, we could do some blogging or some like actual article level writing, which would be very cool.
I love writing, but I don't love writing on Facebook.
I know. It would be cool to have a home for all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind sharing something I wrote on Facebook.
Absolutely.
But I am, So thank you everyone for listening to that. Hey, Jonny Manak of Manak Skates.
He's Manic.
He's out in San Diego as far as I know it.
Yes.
Could be a different San. But I believe he's down there south in San Diego on the TJ border. And Tijuana, that
Yes, the TJ.
Yes.
I'm on it.
And Jonny runs an adorable, sweet, quintessential small board brand maker's spot out of his house. His workshop room is tiny, probably the size of this studio.
Wow.
And he is just crushing it.
That's sick.
And he is right near Braille.
Yeah.
And his kid and I guess he skate the Braille vert ramp.
Oh.
And
That's
super cool.
Yeah.
Well, so do we not like Braille?
No, I was thinking about skating a vert ramp. Sorry.
Skating a vert ramp. I was like, because I think everyone knows I get twitchy around a lot of the stuff I see out there, but I think that a lot of my twitchiness is really just that I need to go put out there what I want to see.
Absolutely.
And it's a lot easier for a guy like me to sit in his house and cross his arms and look down his nose and say, harumph.
Right.
When also, for the record,
Go ahead.
I want to not correct the record, but I want to amend. I want to add something in. Braille is right in the crosshairs of some comments that I said that I meant and I mean today. They were right in the crosshairs of the whole, like, oh, you're a kid and you just got your first skateboard? Here's how to kickflip. Now, everyone knows by now that philosophically I really get bummed out about that.
Sure.
And if we have a longer conversation about it, I think that a lot of people would come to the conclusion that I've got ground underneath me. But I'm not here to argue that.
Sure.
What I want to say is I actually have been watching some of the newest Braille stuff, and it seems like they've come back around the mountain and they're reteaching the kick flipping stuff.
Very cool.
And I saw them teaching, actually saying, if you're gonna learn to skateboard, get out there and push.
Dude.
Get out there and carve. Get out there and learn to turn.
That's
get comfortable on your
sick.
skateboard. Just
Yeah.
keep riding it, which is what I felt like they were missing in the beginning, like for like 5 years, you know.
Yeah, sure.
I felt like they were missing that in the beginning and for years. And now here they are, 2023. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know when Braille started, but it was quite a while ago.
Yeah.
7 years ago. And here they are, killing it with
Right.
awesome instruction to kids. It just seems like the guys who are giving instructions at Braille have matured in the way that they approach how to teach kids skateboarding. And I don't withdraw my criticism because those are new videos.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
That's why it's an amendment.
if I were a little bit more like, if I didn't know better, and I do know better, I would think that maybe they heard some of the things that we're saying.
Yeah.
Maybe that rattled around, or maybe someone else, because we're not the only ones who think this way. We're
Yeah.
we're not the inventors of anything, you know.
Right.
We're just rolling around in it.
Yeah.
Maybe some of these ideas kind of reach the top over there.
Yeah.
Because an idea that reached the top at Braille, which I thought was really interesting, was go and visit a board maker and see how he makes skateboards.
Yeah.
It was so cool. I think Braille is the first like mainstream thing to actually platform boards made by the old school process of a workshop and a maker who cares about it.
Yeah.
They did a huge, like, I think it's a half hour long or longer.
Yeah.
And so Jonny Manak was featured by Braille on how it's made. Skateboard
Yeah.
is the name of it. A little
So
bit
sick.
title
So sick.
abbreviate, you know.
Yes, right.
But I thought that was really interesting.
That's probably because they were grabbing the audience of the people who watch like the How It's Made from the Discovery Channel, because it's like how it's made, paper plates or whatever, which is kind of hilarious. I love it.
I think it's cool.
Yeah, me too.
And Jonny is the best guy for them to feature. He's not a hothead like me, you know, like, and he's right there. I
Yeah.
mean, and they know him, they can trust him, they know he's a super good guy, which he's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
So props to Braille for featuring, you know, would have thought it would have been different.
Yeah.
But it turns out that Braille and that YouTube lane continues to have the good ideas. They get the good ideas sooner than the rest of the folks do.
I wonder if
I mean, granted,
go ahead.
board making has been being pushed for over a decade, so I'm not saying anyone was fast here.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is happening. And it's nice to see something happening that you can be like, thumbs up, that's cool.
Yeah.
I wonder if, to some extent, when Braille started, they were, they saw a need, or, you know, they felt like they could fill a spot in the media market, and they did it really well. And then you kind of, I would imagine people round the bend and they realize, wow, we have a lot of clout now. So what's our responsibility to the skateboarding community or the people that, you know, listen to us? Maybe part of the softening up on things like the how to do kickflips and the maker-made board how-to videos are a manifestation of people realizing that they need to maybe step up their game a little bit because they have much listeners. There are so many listeners.
That's a good theory. What we can know is I think they have stepped up their game,
which is cool.
They've shown growth.
Yes.
in my opinion, I mean, that's growth.
Yeah.
And whether they did it through careful planning or through kind of like an intuitive process of just felt like we needed to, good on you.
Yeah.
You know, like,
agreed.
I'm very, very happy about those things. I'm still, I'm not auto stoked on every single thing,
Auto stoked.
And also, I'm not under the impression that what I'm stoked about is in any way authoritative.
Yeah.
I don't think that you're like a bad person if you're stoked about something different than what I am.
Right.
But start your own podcast, fool.
Yeah, this is all info, dog. This is all in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
It's for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I like it. Was the video good? Did you enjoy watching it?
Actually, it was painful.
Okay.
It was painful to watch that video, and not because the video was not good. Although I will say this, and this will get me nowhere fast. But I will say this, I don't prefer. I don't know. I likened it to the video with Ben DeGrosse and Gifted Hater talking about how boards are made and where they're made and like that.
Sure.
Where, not Jonny Manak.
No.
Jonny Manak was absolutely articulate and intelligent the whole way through. Yeah. And I love how he called the bandsaw the career ender.
Dude, the career ender.
The career ender.
So true.
I just thought he was just sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
Johnny was just sharp as a tack. But see, I'm not from California, so I don't only say the positive things.
Right.
And I find Aaron Cairo's, and I can say this because I want to, and it's my podcast. I find some of the things that Aaron Cairo would say, like, "Oh, that's awesome,"
sure,
or some of those like comments, were, I don't know what's when I watch an interviewer, a lot of times I'm as interested in what's going on in the interviewer's head as I am what's going on in the interviewee's head.
Yeah,
and I don't know where these guys' heads are at in California over there at Braille.
Sure.
I can watch videos of them like giggling like school children about breaking something.
Yeah,
I saw a clip that auto ran.
Yeah.
And they had a Christmas tree with wheels and trucks on it.
That's kind of hilarious, yeah.
And they were cackling like little school children about it breaking, but I don't think that they were having as much fun as they were appearing to have.
Yeah, that's okay.
Because I read nonverbal stuff, and a lot of times people will be like being happy, but I see fear and anger. This is so subjective. And so I wish well to all these creators and people, but my perception is that these guys are under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And it comes through in the pained eyes behind the happy words. Yeah. And it makes me feel sad.
Oh, that's interesting.
It makes me feel sad. And
sure.
The other thing is, I actually was kind of stomping my feet like, bro, you've been writing these things forever. Why don't you know anything at all about how they're made or what goes into this very simple, rudimentary 7-ply technology?
Yeah.
Like, wow. Like, and they've done board reviews that have demonstrated again and again that these guys they seem to be entirely incurious.
Sure.
As to the process of deck making.
Right.
And that always is going to rub me wrong.
Right.
Because that's like a thing that's important to me.
Yeah.
So watching a Braille video about board making with Jonny Manak is like a solid 100% win on the Jonny Manak part.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'd get along with Aaron Cairo.
Sure.
I don't know if he'd be able to stand being around me, but I'll give it a shot with anyone.
Yeah.
I certainly, I'm supposed to respect that he can beat me in a game of skate and that he's a better skateboarder than I am, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't respect anyone because they're better at skateboarding than me.
Right.
I respect people because they were made by a God who loves us and proved it in his Son through the cross on Golgotha.
Yeah.
And that's why I respect you. That's the respect I have for you. If you are someone that Christ died for, then I'm gonna take care with how I treat you. All right?
Yeah.
How good you are on a skateboard is not important to me. It is not a reason that I'm gonna respect you. In fact, if you're really good on a skateboard, the odds are really high that you are a person who has neglected several aspects of life that would have limited you, but would have grown your character in other ways.
Right.
So your performance of Daring Do on the four-wheeled wooden plank do not serve, in my mind, to be a pathway to respect.
Sure.
I don't know. Land your triple kickflip down the 16 stair and then scream at me, respect me.
Yeah, right.
And that's how ridiculous I feel that is. But however, that is the ethic of the skateboarding community.
It really is.
If a guy is good on a skateboard or a gal is good on a skateboard, they're king of town, they're the decision maker.
Right.
That's terrible, and it's given us some terrible things in the past.
100%.
Yeah.
It's such a bad way to determine who should lead and who is worthy of respect and admiration.
Right? Like a person who's honest.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's who should run your skate shop.
Yeah.
Like our friend Floyd Howard Pruitt.
Yep.
He's honest.
Yep.
He's kind.
Yeah.
He's generous. And he's smart. Good at business.
Yeah.
There's a good skate shop.
Yep.
House HOP.
Yep.
Hop is a good skate shop. It's still mobile.
Okay.
He didn't get his location, so
I saw that.
he's gone into mobile mode. But those are the kinds of people that ought to be your skate shop owner and ought to do business. Not someone who was better than you, and so you better do what they say, and why are you wearing those shoes, and where did you buy them, in this whole 1990s cultural morass. Nah, we're done with that. Instagram happened. Barracks rules are outdated.
100%.
And you can have anyone be your favorite skater, and you can go skate like them, or just like the way they skate and enjoy it.
Right.
And if you're an older person and you just love skateboarding and you wish you could do it, but you've got a bum knee and a demanding job and you have to stay on the job and you want to be around it, and you show up in your freaking cut off BDUs with your black t-shirt and your black hoodie, with a proper skate slogan, maybe indie, maybe thrasher, and you show up with those things. Oh, Johnny just joined us. Johnny, we just did a huge piece on you, so make sure you go, when we post this, we'll post it in about 2 hours. Go back and listen through. We did a whole thing on you being on Braille. But, if you just love skateboarding and skateboards and you have a nostalgic attachment, you're in the group.
Yeah.
You're in the group. And here's to the coming age of skateboarding, where our most honest and smartest people are our skate shop guys and gals, and where our best skateboard move makers are often asked whether they're growing as a person.
Yeah.
That was awesome. We'd love to sponsor you, but first we have to ask you, dude, are you a bad influence for kids? Oh, you are, and you're proud of it? Sorry, man, we're gonna have to pass.
Yep.
We'll just stock our team with kooks.
Yep. We'll
stock our team with kooks and go stoke a whole bunch of people, because you know what that is? It's better business.
Yeah, crazy, huh?
It is.
That's why Braille and Revive blew up. Or similar.
That is.
They're in that lane.
They did. They went the kid route.
Yeah.
And there are dark edges waiting for us everywhere we go.
Which is fine.
We're not crowning anyone Pope of town.
Pope of skateboarding.
But I have done something that makes me a little less crotchety, is I finally found a way with my buddy Luke to start a podcast, say the things I want to say. I don't have to. I don't. Facebook is lost now. It used to be very lively.
Yeah.
Back in 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, Facebook was pretty lit.
Yeah.
And now it's this.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it will be soon. I think video is probably going to be the way things move.
Yeah, or people wearing VR glasses and suddenly you're in the room with the guys because they have 3D cameras set up the entire time.
That's very fascinating. You know, FM radio is still like the #1 way that people get all their stuff.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's getting surpassed. It might have been surpassed, but podcasting, audio podcasting, so gritty, so low to the ground, is a huge mechanism for info.
Yeah.
It's massive. So
yeah.
we might stick with, because this is primarily an audio podcast, as you can tell by the way it is on the video.
Yeah. Right.
Do we the thing about being this ridiculous is we know it.
Yeah, it's fun.
And that makes it more enjoyable.
100%. Yeah, it's actually funny as I think part of the reason that Facebook has become the way it is because people have been turning more and more to the shorter form video formats because you can just get so much information the entire time, just 15-second flip. And it's funny, as that's happened, our decision has been to actually do long form discussion. I mean, some of these are like an hour and a half long.
Yes.
You know, like that's an interesting, we've kind of inoculated ourselves against the super short form. Not that we don't like the super short form for some reasons, but I really think this is a super effective way to talk about ideas, you know?
It is. Long form is killer because you can actually, well, you can start talking about something and realize you made a mistake, and then you can say I made a mistake, and you can really dig in on things.
Absolutely.
And, long form lets us down when people just pitch softballs. Although we'll make that mistake plenty of times too.
Yeah, I think it's
because we don't know everything.
Dude,
yeah.
Speaking of pitching softballs, you know what podcast I really, really don't like that's skateboarding related?
The Bunt.
The Bunt is so bad, dude. God bless those guys who run it. I'd be happy to meet them, but man, their podcast is.
Oh, you're being savage. I love it,
dude. I'm just like thinking about it. It's like taking the skin off my face right now. It's so bad. Like
I just sent. So my youngest son is, he's hip.
Yeah.
He knows all the stuff, right? He's got really strong opinions about how media should form up.
Yeah.
And I sent him the, what's his name?
Oh, Kylo Ren. What's his name? Kader.
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren is the one.
Sylla.
Kylo Sylla, yes.
So I just sent him over the Kader Sylla interview. The Kader Sylla interview was recommended to me as a really deep interview where Kader really gets into it.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
it's fine. I don't want to be disrespectful to the person who sent it to you. It's fine.
Okay.
Well, that description is so. I just have things to say about that. That's wild. That's not the way that I would describe it. It literally hurt to watch. I did 40 minutes of it. I thought I was going to puke.
Did you do video or audio?
I did audio, but then I switched to YouTube, hoping to find a video because I was hoping that the video format would be better. But all I could find was the audio placed on top of a bunch of Kylo Ren skating, Kader skating. Kader Ren. Have some respect. It's Kader Ren. Kader skating, which was a little bit more pleasing because at least there was skateboarding happening, but it was so painful to listen to. It was really sad. That's the way I felt. I felt the same way that you felt about the Braille deal. I felt a deep sadness fall on me as I was listening to this. It was sucked.
It's hard to engage the thoughts that are caused by. There's so much pressure on all of us to kind of unquestioningly celebrate whatever's happening just because it's what's happening.
Yeah.
So many times I've heard folks say, well, they're making money, so they must be doing something right, like that. And that's a sad, it's an argument, actually. It's making an argument of approval.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, I raised kids, and I know that if this young person, like take Kader Sylla in the Bunt interview, if he were lifted up, he's 19 now.
Yeah, he's young.
And if he were lifted up to my kids, if I had a 15-year-old kid or a 13-year-old kid, and he were lifted up as an example, and they listened to his interviews, I think that my kid would probably wind up smoking marijuana way too early.
Yeah.
And that would damage my kid's neurological development. That's just truth.
Right.
That's like trust the science, you know? Dr. Fauci would agree that that's just true. And I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It makes me uncomfortable that there's so much pressure. Because if I were to, and I would never say that, you know, because
Never.
then someone would be like, you're being a hater and you're just jealous.
Dude.
And I'm like Sinead O'Connor, dude. I don't want what I can't have, you know? And so I'm not even jealous about something that, guys, I am half a century old and I have maybe 25 years left to live.
Yeah.
So I've lived twice as long as I'm gonna live. It's over.
Sure.
You know, so I'm not jealous of missing out on, I guess, free shoes.
Yeah, I don't even know what the argument is. Like
male modeling money. What am I jealous of? Having
money?
Andrew Reynolds think I'm cool.
Yeah.
What am I jealous of? Being able to heel flip over a rail down some stairs.
Until you hurt your knee.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
That's not what I want to do on my skateboard, and I'm fine with that.
Right.
No, I don't think I'm jealous. And I'm also not a hater. It's actually the love I have for my sons, who are not little kids right now. So now I'm on some sort of your kids and all the kids thing.
Yeah.
And I just would ask the Bunt guys, like, what's it all about, Alfie? What are you doing? Like, what are you thinking putting out this, like, intoxicated, really, like, what's the idea behind Vans sponsoring this very, you know, like, apparently high dollar, high sponsorship thing?
Yeah.
And I'm not like, I'm gonna buy Vans until I die.
Yeah,
okay,
on,
this
bro.
is not about Vans.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah. I mean, we're the dumb.
They're running Chinese sweatshop business model. I'm not expecting them to be ethical.
Sure.
It's, you know, I am a little bummed on Vans selling their operation and going Chinese production.
Me too.
But that is so long ago, and I can't get that toothpaste back in the tube.
Who else are you going to go to? They're all doing that.
Well, actually, New Balance has a few lines of SB products that are made domestically.
Nike.
New Balance.
Oh, I'm sorry, New
Balance. Yeah.
Aren't they owned by Nike?
Probably. I mean, probably.
I thought it was.
Freaking Vans is owned by Vanity Fair now. They're owned by VF Corp. Forget it, dude.
Keep it core, bros. Keep it core. Buy Vans.
When you get into it, when you get into it, and you actually start knowing what you're talking about, you want to hit the rewind real fast.
Dude,
because
I know.
Not your heroes. All of our base art belong to them.
Yeah.
You know, it's really gross. Just wear shoes or don't, and go ride your skateboard, and crack your Bibles, fools.
And please.
And, you know, like, don't be taken in by this anti-intellectual, always be stoked on everything.
Right.
Like, if you've ever been stoked on Andy Roy.
Yes.
Well, that's ironic because Andy Roy is someone, I mean, my heart just was like, yes, when he was Andy Roy's kids camp.
Oh, that was sick.
Except it was just because I hoped.
Right.
I was like, oh, I wish for a guy like Andy Roy to be safe with kids and actually be a good example to them and get them shredding. Right. I agree with him completely. When you hit the lip, man, you need to hit the lip.
That's true.
I love that.
That was a sick video.
That's the kind of thing I'll say to kids. It's like, hey, man, hit it. You know, I love that. I loved those. They're a long time ago.
Yeah.
There was, but it's just not the case. I can't be unreservedly stoked about that kind of thing because of King of the Road and seeing what's going on.
Right.
Don't make a guy drink a guy's pee.
Right. Or chug a beer up your butt. Like, come on.
They did do that.
They did it multiple times.
And these are all things that feed into what young people, you know, are going to do.
Right.
And there's a responsibility there that I know.
Yeah.
And so when I watch stuff, I think like that. I can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. That's the way I think about life.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that there's nothing gnarly. It doesn't mean that there's nothing that's violently awesome in skateboarding, but it does mean that before we consider ourselves skateboarders, we ought to consider ourselves people. And being a person is a full-time job.
It is.
And it includes growing in wisdom and understanding, and it includes being pretty tough on ourselves about ethics,
right,
and morals.
Yeah.
And open your Bibles, fools.
I say again. I say again. I'm kind of surprised. I was gonna say I'm kind of surprised that Vans is like full thumbs up
on the Bunt.
Yeah, but I guess that makes sense. I mean, this is what skateboarding is, and they're a skateboarding shoe company, so that's what people like. But it just is. Yeah, I just felt so sad about it, man. I was on the YouTube, and somebody commented. They were like, "Oh, Kader has such a bright future ahead of him."
Oh, goodness gracious!
And I really disagreed with that statement.
Yeah.
Because all I could feel was just crushing sadness about the fact that this guy, you know, was smoking so much pot and driving so stoned.
Driving a car.
So
smoking
stoned.
a blunt.
And he's 19. How is he even getting? I don't understand.
He wasn't 19 when that was filmed.
Yeah, he's in a car. He's literally weaving through traffic. I just have this like deep sadness about it, and the fact that skateboarders are so blind to any of those ethics, and they're like, "Oh, he has such a bright future." I'm like, I don't agree with you.
If you could say something on today's podcast that maybe Kader would hear, after listening to his The Bunt interview, what would it be? What if we indulged ourselves in some fantasy that Kader might listen to this?
Yeah.
Would we just, what would you say to him?
I would probably say something like, "Hey man, I really care about you, and it appears from the data that I currently have that you are on a life set to total self-destruction, and I adjure you, I beg you to please reconsider, because you matter, you're important, and God loves you, and I don't want you to, you know, at the very best, burn out like a little flame and be forgotten, and just live your life as a person who smokes pot every time they feel sad." You know what I mean? Because I did that for a long time, and it was not productive towards anything at all. And I was frying my brain, like I couldn't put together thoughts. And you can tell the same thing's happening to Kader, whether or not him feeling sad is the reason he smokes pot or not. But I don't. A lot of times you'll talk to somebody and you'll be like, "Why do you smoke pot?" And they're like, "Well, it really helps me focus, or it does this. It really helps my anxiety, things of that nature." And to be completely frank, I have a bias about that view because it's the same view that I used to have, and I just feel like, oh, that's not true. That's not true. The way that I feel is that people are looking to be sedated from the rigors of life. And I have a dog who has to be in right now. Come on. You're naked. You're naked.
Oh, he's so cute. He's little. He's just little.
He's so little.
He's so little.
Rocco, you little.
He's the boy. He's a good boy.
He's a good boy, Rocco.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're little. He's being held by Lou for all the people who are only listening right now, like little babies. He's a baby. Get him the jacket to lay on. He might be cold.
Here, in your spot. He's laying down. He's such a good boy.
He is. But I have a tendency to feel like I don't believe people when they say that, or not necessarily not believe them, but to think that there's something deeper happening, because it's a powerful medicine. It sedates people. It makes all the fuzz and the static in your brain feel like it goes away, but it really just masks problems to a large degree. So yeah, I would ask him, "Hey man, have you ever considered different choices? You want to go skate with me? You want to hang out and maybe try to find some better friends and a life journey that doesn't end the way that it appears it might end?" You know?
I'm tracking every bit that you're saying.
Right.
I think that if Kader were watching us do this or listening to us say this, I'd say, "Kader, get off this train, dude."
Yeah.
The fame, the male modeling, the being great at skateboarding.
Right.
They can all be part of your life, but the problem is that when they swallow you up, and money and fame are what you're chasing after, it's gonna disappoint you.
Yes.
It is. It's a train ride to destruction.
It is. And what's really sad about it is that he was talking about how on the bunt that he hadn't been skating for a couple of weeks because he hurt his knee.
Right.
And he was describing. It was funny because he contradicted himself many times, but
he said he skated every day,
and then he was like, "I haven't skated in 2 weeks."
And he just lets it drop that he hasn't skated in 2
Right.
weeks, and he's in a fog.
He's in a fog.
He's in a complete brain fog.
Right.
If I were interviewing someone and they were that stoned,
Right.
I would reschedule the interview. I don't think the bunt did him any favors.
No, and he was saying, I want to be the best skater ever, and then they were like, "Well, what do you got down Hollywood 16?" And he was like, "Oh, maybe in 100 years I would touch that thing," And I was just feeling like, oh man, dude, if your goal was to be a professional skateboarder, you're not on that track. And if your goal is to be a human, well-rounded with some sort of moral compass and character, you're not on that track either. And as soon as you stop being relevant to the skateboarding community, all that love and the affirmation that you're feeling is going to be gone. So like,
there's another problem.
Go ahead.
A lot of people who are in Kader's spot have done, I'm not accusing Kader of anything, but a lot of these guys have done very, very foolish and even wicked things.
Yeah.
And those things will find you out.
They really will.
And the problem is that then you got this thing hanging over your head, and I'd say flee from fame. Forget about fame and go for hard work over time.
Yeah.
And invest in a more wise direction in your life. Turn over a new leaf.
Yeah.
And become smart.
Yeah.
I would say
right
that you're not smart right now. You're really dumb right now.
Yeah.
And being dumb just for the fun of it seems fun, but it goes down sweet, but it burns your keister coming out.
It burns your keister.
Yeah. So
and
I'm really warning you, dude. Change your ways, man.
If I knew Kader for 6 months or a couple months and began to develop a relationship of trust, I might become more harsh, more intense about it, because I feel like the stakes are so high. I might say something like, "Hey man, I have zero respect for the way that you've been living. I don't respect the decisions that you made. I don't think that you're a skateboarding god. I don't see why anybody would see you as a role model," on and on. Because, man, he couldn't even put thoughts together. He literally could not even put words together on the interview. It sucked so bad. It sucked. And the guys on the Bunt are literally laughing at him. I feel as if he was the what did they say, the brunt,
the Bunt podcast,
the bunt of the joke, the butt of the joke. Is that
I don't know. Like the guys who run a podcast. I'm not opposing you, Luke. I think that it's entirely likely that you're correct, because you are, you're an intuitive person, and a lot of times it's sad that negative intuitions are often at least partially correct.
Sure.
As I was listening, I just kept thinking, well, just you guys are not doing a person any favors. I mean, where's the, hey, Kader, we recorded 20 minutes into this podcast with you, but buddy, is there any time of the week when you're not blazed out of your mind that we could do a podcast?
Right.
We really would like to talk to the Kader Sylla, who is able to answer without contradicting himself, without forgetting where he's at, in the thing, and but I mean, it's not like we're asking a lot.
No, I don't think so.
It's not like we're asking so much of a guy.
No.
That we would say that. You
right.
know? But it turns out that feels like a lot. The guys at the Bunt, who maybe one day will hear these things, I don't understand between Jenkum and the Bunt and Thrasher. I don't understand. There's like an anti-thinking. It's not even anti-intellectualism. Get into intellectualism.
Yeah.
It's like there's this celebration of thoughtlessness.
Yes.
Of just not considering, like these things, and don't even like let me catch a whiff of there being pills involved and things like that, you know, because I've seen this like a million times, guys that get hurt and then there's just pills and there's all this stuff going on.
Yeah.
And I look at what's going on in that Bunt interview, and it's all robed up in all this like hip hop, puff and bluster, cool guy dress, you know, and I'm like, okay, no. You know.
Yeah, right.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that they're working hard on their sound bites and all that stuff, but I mean, if you want respect, then be respectable. Yeah. Otherwise, we're gonna be offering some critique.
Yeah.
And if that's the reason why we never get invited to some Malibu party with Ferraris and Lamborghinis, we are more than fine with that.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
We'll be in the shed under the lean-to, wrenching on a couple of ratty Harleys over here, and are we happy about that? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a scripture in the Bible that says, "I'd rather be a doorkeeper in the house of the Lord than dwell among the tents of the rich." You know, and that's just where I'd rather. Yeah, I know what side the bread's buttered on.
Absolutely,
you know?
Yeah. The eternal side is nice. I'm trying to think about it from the Bunt's perspective. I'd like to steel man their argument.
Oh, we just do what we do, yo.
Yeah. Right. Oh my gosh.
Yo, we do what we making money, yo.
Yeah. Well,
we do what we do.
Essentially,
you're a hater.
I'm assuming that the argument goes something like this, or at least I would. Yeah, it's an assumption. Is that the argument is like, well, we're just giving people what they want.
This is what the kids want.
Yeah, this is what the kids want.
I've heard this over the porn graphics sitting out in front of the kids in the skate shop.
Yeah.
And I'm not even like, get those out of here. I'm like, just put them up somewhere. You know?
I'm like, not at eye level.
And,
come on.
And that's what they say. It's like, this is what the kids want. And I'm like, you are not serving the welfare of any child.
Yes. No.
Yeah.
Well, and my personal feeling about clout or influence.
The clout.
Is that your responsibility, and in my life particularly, your moral responsibility rises with the level of clout. They're completely correlated. So the more influence that you have,
the more responsible you are
for I don't know, some sort of just anything at all, like some sort of using your influence for good, you know, use your power for good, not evil, man, you know, like, so I don't see a whole lot of that happening because I'm assuming that they're making money and they want to continue to make money and they want to continue to enjoy all of the clout, all of the affluence of, you know, having the entire skateboarding community really respect you.
This comes back to the San Francisco Standard article about Jake Phelps, in which it was openly confessed that there's a lot of market that depends on not being anti-drug. I mean, I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
But they're like, we really have been trying to have this conversation.
Right.
Not even come to a conclusion, but like have this conversation.
Yeah.
And then saying there's so much market involved.
Right.
I'm afraid that the answer to why things are the way they are so often is in order to please our corporate overlords with larger and larger bottom line gains.
Yeah.
And maybe bottom lines are shrinking and the pressure is on even more, you know.
Yeah.
And I have to say, like, someone would say, oh, I have to respect that. But you know what? I don't. I don't have to respect that. And we don't respect that. That's wrong.
Yeah.
Selling out innocence for money, compromising the status of children for money, is how skateboarding has marketed. Yes. And it's wrong.
Yeah.
And it means that things ought to change. Will they? Yeah, they probably will. They probably will change. And maybe it'll be because of people thinking so. Right. And then saying so. Right. And then talking to each other and deciding, well, you know, geez, I'm not down with that anymore. You know, and and doing a different thing. Yeah. I mean, I don't care what brand. I don't think it should matter what brand shoes you wear. Yeah. I don't know. don't think it should matter.
Yeah.
But I know that when it comes to choosing boards I ride,
Yeah.
I much prefer something pressed in a workshop an hour from my house.
Absolutely.
Or in my own workshop.
Yeah.
That inspires me.
Right.
And has way better service to me. Or something pressed at Madrid.
Right.
By Jerry Madrid's old school operation.
Yeah.
That Zeppelin up there is pressed by Jerry Madrid's operation. It's truly made in the USA.
Yeah.
You know, and when I ride a skateboard deck, I like what's under my feet to be at least tangentially related to
yeah.
values I have.
Right.
I thought that's what that was kind of about.
Yeah, the entire point. Yeah, that would be nice. I'm also, it's funny, we've talked about this before, but if the reason that you're doing the thing that you're doing, you know, kind of, you know, come along to get along and
go along to get along.
Yeah, go along, get along, whatever it is.
Yeah. Don't rock the boat.
Don't rock the boat is because this is what people want, aka we're making money doing this. We want to continue to do that.
Yeah.
What's hilarious about it is that even from just a raw business perspective,
yeah,
it's really dumb because you could have such a huge. There's so many people out there that you could be reaching with a different model. You know, you could double, triple, quadruple the amount of people who are listening and buying the things that you have to offer if you just stood up for something. We're all so nervous to speak our mind about things, but it's funny because as soon as you do, there's like 15 people that come up to you and are like, dude, I was thinking the same thing. Thank you so much for saying that.
Usually privately,
yeah,
and behind the backs of the people that they publicly back.
Right.
That's one of the things, you know, hey, skateboarding, integrity called, and it wants you to stop complimenting people for saying stuff that you're scared to say in real time.
Right, right.
But if that's where you're at, that's where you're at. But, you know, it's on you. If you live your life in the comfortable middle and you enjoy the acceptance of wicked people who run things in a wicked way, you're wicked.
Yeah.
That's just real. You should own it and have,
integrity?
Yeah, that's right. Integrity. That's the word.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Yeah. It ties into something that we talked about a lot when we talked about the passing of Jake Phelps, which is that you continue to make this connection between the broader skateboarding community and what's been happening, and actually placing responsibility on us as skateboarders for where we're at now. And it's so true. Mm-hmm. It was really true. I'm sure it's hard to hear for some people, but it's true. We looked at what's happening, and maybe a lot of us thought, oh, okay, it's fine. I just want to skate, so I'm just going to close my eyes, you know. And now here we are.
Yeah.
It's not. This is what we get. You know what I mean? This is, we sowed the seed. Now we got to reap the fruit. And it sucks. It sucks. And if we want less of it, we could do less middle grounding, and that would be nice for all of us, I think.
Well, the problem with losing the social middle ground,
sure,
is that everyone hates you. Right now, in the present climate, the cost of this is that everyone's going to hate you. If that's not the case, consider yourself blessed. That's very nice.
Yeah.
But in most parts of skateboarding, if you go, actually, no, not cool, dude.
Right.
Not cool at all. That's it's bad for kids and big kids, and
right.
It's not cool. People are going to be like, oh, what are you, judgmental? I'll be like, yeah. If we're talking about a left turn or a right turn and getting where we're going or not getting where we're going, I'm going to be judgmental between those two things.
Right.
And if it's as simple as some of these issues, like, hey man, you should definitely lay off the recreational drugs,
right,
and get your mind right.
Yeah.
And then you should definitely work hard and get educated and be smart.
Yeah. That's
definitely better than dumb on purpose, but you got ads in Supreme.
Right.
Like, who's selling you this, man? Who got you when you were a little kid and turned you into a corporate fashion clothes horse and sold you on a party lifestyle that is going to destroy your potential in this world, and is going to blind you to the consequences that lie beyond, you know, when you die. I thought this was kindergarten.
Yeah.
But it's not. People really have a hard time wrapping the old noggin around this.
Yes.
And if that makes you like the worst guy in your city, or makes you like, someone that people hate,
Yeah.
well, you're blessed.
Yeah.
That's actually, it doesn't feel good. I'll
No.
give you that. Ask me how I know. It doesn't feel good for people to have those feelings about you, but you're going to have that.
Yeah.
That's part of living.
Yeah.
And
as a consolation prize, we probably have your back on that.
Yeah, but we're not worth a lot. You know that?
No,
because we're over here.
Nice
we're over here, and you're over there. And when it comes down time that you have to stand a line in your life and say, "This is wrong.
Yeah.
I don't agree with this."
Yeah.
There's in Proverbs 5, I think it is. It says, "When sinners entice you, consent not." and I'm like, when you're being enticed by ways of living that are guaranteed to bring destruction, consent not.
Yeah.
And if that means that you don't get to enjoy the approval and inclusion of a group, well, that's important that you experience that.
Right.
That's going to make you a full-fledged man or woman.
Yep.
And that's going to open up to your mind options that maybe weren't on your menu screen before.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. All the paths are difficult.
Yeah.
Life is difficult and filled with pain. Whether you do what's right or whether you do what's wrong, both of them are full of difficulty.
Yep.
So if your organizing principles are governed by the avoidance of discomfort, you are going to have a lot of trouble finding a solid path in life.
Right.
Well, this notion that I'm disabusing here, this idea, actually a lot of our listeners are skateboarders.
Yeah.
Who came into skateboarding to escape the pain of life.
Yeah.
But here's a life hack. It doesn't work.
Nope.
There's pain in all of the paths. And if your skateboarding path has landed you in a party culture and a drug culture and an anti-intellectual culture and a culture that wants to put a wedge between you and your Bible and you and the God who made you, consent not.
Yes.
I have been known to tell a fool to get their ass to church. But I don't trust a lot of what America calls church.
Right.
I'm sad to say that so often the message of the Bible is often lacquered over with money and business and marketing. Yeah. But I'm still there. Like, my butt is in church on Sunday, and I host Bible studies and do stuff like this because there's more important stuff going on than tricks people do on wooden toys.
Yes.
And that's the good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's hard about it too is if your MO for every time things are uncomfortable is to avoid, it's like a credit card. It just stacks up interest. You know what I mean? It just stacks it on up.
I think people don't know what you mean. I think it needs to be spelled out really clearly.
Yeah, well,
if you're,
go ahead.
If you're operating by the principles of pleasure and the avoidance of difficulty, you are going to have to pay.
Yep.
Later on, you're going to have to pay. I notice there are some, I can't really read the comments that are skeeling in the bottom. Yeah. But my buddy Eric Sanders is in there, and Eric is very clearly spoken about this dynamic because Eric went in whole hog on the Dwayne Peters example. He was a young, impressionable man, and he went whole hog on all that and has fully recovered his mind and his life from where that led.
Yeah.
But you know, Dwayne hasn't. And we have affection for Kader, Sylla. We have affection for the boys over there at the
Bunt.
The Bunt.
The Bunt.
We have affection for all these people.
Yeah.
But if you're demanding our respect, we politely decline.
Yeah.
And if you're inviting us to follow that example, we consent not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we think that you, our dear listeners, ought not consent as well.
Yeah.
It's roundabout Proverbs chapter 5. Seriously, crack the good book and get soak your head.
Yeah.
Soak your aching head in something that's going to help you think more clearly about your life.
Yeah.
It made a big difference for me when I just got quiet and got back to the basics. There's a scripture in Isaiah. It might be Jeremiah, but I think it's Isaiah, and it says, "Look to the ancient ways.
Yeah.
Look to the rock from which you were hewn."
Hmm.
And I want to encourage our listeners to look to the ancient ways, look to the old ways, look to the one who made you.
Yeah.
And give these things serious thought, because life sneaks up on you, and a life lived for pleasure is wasted.
Yeah.
That's it. Those are words that we mean.
Absolutely.
And so when we watch the strange, hedonistic superficiality of Braille skateboards,
Yeah.
dealing with something that I hold dearly, which is the craft of board making and the character, the authenticity, the honesty that can bring back into skateboarding, I tend to cringe. And when we hear interviews done by folks like the Bunt with pros like Kylo Ren, what is the boy's name?
Kader
Sylla. When we hear those kind of interviews, it goes beyond cringe. It goes to a point of grief.
Yes.
And I would invite you to hear me. I firmly decline to apologize.
Yeah.
If that seems judgmental to you.
Yeah.
I want you to know before you leave your comments that this is not a point of movability.
Yeah.
I will be unmoved by your scorn when you say I'm being judgmental.
Yeah.
Because this is like choosing life and choosing death.
Yeah.
I definitely am judgmental between those two things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and none of this is, we've condemned no one.
No.
We've consigned no one to damnation or any such thing. Instead, we'll be accused of that. Instead, we've invited you guys to consider life more clearly, more intently, to look into these things and see if it really is like this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, come at me, bro.
And to reach a hand out, maybe help somebody up. You know,
what can we do?
I know that's how I feel. I'm like, what are you supposed to do? I think that this is an effective way to do things.
I'll actually be speaking in June at a thing.
Oh yeah, you're gonna do that.
There's one of those. I'm gonna actually speak at a thing in June, but you know, words are powerful.
They are.
I think that's not to be underestimated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I'll piss off a whole bunch more people.
Yes, for what it's worth.
For what it's worth. Here we are at minute number 87.
Yes.
And we are grateful for all of you who've spent time with us on the Facebook Live.
Yep.
That'll be posted up to the YouTube, the CapmLew podcast YouTube.
Truly.
CapmLew podcast on Apple, Spotify. It's CapmLew. CapmLew. I'm the captain.
Yes.
Look me over. And I couldn't do this without co-captain Luke. He's
Here I am.
probably something like my best friend.
Aw.
I know.
Stop, dude.
I don't know.
I have a thyroid problem.
I don't have any core strength.
I don't have any core strength.
Yeah. So I'll be in Louisville this weekend, either Saturday or Sunday. I think it's going to be Saturday, depends on where things.
I hope to be with you.
Will it be Saturday?
If I do go, it might be a Sunday deal, but I would prefer Saturday. I'm going to have to talk with my wife.
That's right. We talk to our wives.
Uh-huh.
Judy and I have been married for like 32 years. We don't have to check in quite as hard as we used to.
Yeah.
It's nice.
That's sick, dude.
It is.
Yeah.
I've been married for going on 32 years.
You got some mileage, son.
That's pretty cool.
You got mileage.
I've raised men.
Raised men.
All right. Well, for what it's worth, CapmLew.
Laters.
All right, Facebook, you're still with us. That was the end of our audio, and I'll label that up and I'll post it tonight.
Yes.
So you can find that there, and we'll be casting again on Thursday.
Thursday.
And we'll have to end soon enough. Oh, we won't have any problem because
Yeah.
there's bikes and Bibles over at the bike shop.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah,
Okay.
over the bike shop where I used to work has bikes and Bibles on Thursday, and then Friday is sinners only here at the house. I have my own exclusive club.
Gosh, stop.
Yeah, they're
dude.
required. The bar is set. Sinners only.
You must be a sinner.
Yeah.
I'm on it.
But there's people who don't feel that way.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And I'm not saying that I don't want them to come, but that's only because I would never say that out loud.
Yeah, I would never say.
They're a
anything
bummer.
like that. They are.
They're a bummer.
Yeah, they'll get the skin knocked off their body. It's fine.
I don't know, dude. Yeah. Like, I
I'm
don't
ready.
like having to bounce fools.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Well, I think you guys can tell that we have a certain love for you that comes from the love we receive from the Savior.
Yeah.
And I hope that you guys are moved to look into such things in your life and consider that the love of God was shown to us in Jesus.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying, highly recommend. 10 out of 10.
Stop trying to sell me Bibles.
We don't sell anything.
We never have done that. You never sold a Bible,
We don't even have t-shirts.
which is a bummer, dog.
Dude, we should totally do merch.
Yeah, I know. I'm so down.
We have to do merch.
For
dude.
what it's worth.
We need to do merch.
Yes.
We should shamelessly plug a bunch of merchandise.
Yeah. People want to wear crap.
But you know, in order to do merch, I need an Apple Pen.